What's going on, guys? Commander Jesse, Clone Trooper Jesse, back with another video. Today, I just wanted, mainly I wanted to experiment sort of filming outside, filming with the Rode mics I've got. My voice sounds a bit raspy, doesn't it? And just swinging a saber, shooting the shit with you guys. But yeah, basically within the last 24 hours, probably about 24 hours ago, I chucked a few stories and that up, just asking you guys to ask me any questions, just so I could sort of test this, make a video, and answer any questions you guys might have for me, whether it be, you know, life, personal, Star Wars, content creation, anything. I think most of them were Star Wars in the end. But yeah, we'll get through them. And then hopefully this all works and you guys will see the video soon. And by the way, the saber is lit up at the moment. I don't know what it looks like on the camera, but this is just the RGB one from Theory Sabers. So at this time of day, in this sort of light, it's probably not looking great, but I'm still going to swing the saber around anyway and just answer your questions. I need to get the Obi-Wan down one day as well. My dog's looking at me. He wants to get to me. I'll put up an Instagram story first, so I'll go through the Instagram story ones and see what you guys said. Alrighty, so first question is from my boy, Star Wars Nerd Kenrick. Shout out, brother. Appreciate it. If you could visit any era of the Star Wars universe, which would it be? It's a good question. I don't think I've actually ever had that question before in like a live stream or anything. If I could visit any era in the Star Wars universe, I mean, it depends who I am though, doesn't it? If I'm a Sith, you know, I probably want to be around Revenge of the Sith. If I'm the Jedi, you know, I probably want to be, I mean, the High Republic era and all that's probably the best because that's probably the most peaceful time. But I don't really know a lot about that. So if I'm me, I want to be a Jedi in the Clone Wars probably. But I mean, I'm Commander Jesse, so I have to be in the Clone Wars anyway, don't I? Yeah, I don't know. Probably around the Clone Wars. I think the Clone Wars is the most exciting. It's probably one of the most exciting eras of Star Wars. If I'm just me, you know, I'm probably just gonna fast forward to in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens and tell Luke, don't do the stupid thing Rian Johnson's gonna get you to do. That's actually a really good question. Yeah, probably the Clone Wars is one of my favorite eras of Star Wars, so I probably want to be in and around the Clone Wars. I reckon, yeah, that's my final answer. Around the Clone Wars, I think. That's a good answer. That's a good question, though. Good answer. It's a good question. I like it. I like it. Second question is from Darth Christensen. What is your favorite moment in Star Wars as of now? What's my favorite moment in Star Wars as of now? My favorite moment in Star Wars as of now. Oh, it's so hard. I mean, it's hard to, I'm not going to say this is my 100% favorite moment, but just so you guys can see, I got the scene when Obi-Wan cuts Vader's mask open done as a tattoo, because that just meant a lot to me. I really love that scene. So that would certainly be up there. Growing up, the fight between Luke and Vader in Return of the Jedi was always my favorite, but also the moment where Luke is about to get executed on the skiff next to Jabba's sail barge, and then R2 shoots his lightsaber to him. I always loved that moment as well. So those were sort of my favorites growing up, and then as I sort of got a bit older, you know, Revenge of the Sith became my equal favorite with Return of the Jedi, so Battle of the Heroes is always up there for me. But then, you know, you've also got, with the Disney stuff, as much as, you know, we shit on Disney for what they've done, they have also given us some very cool moments, mainly Filoni, but and Favreau, of course. But obviously there's Luke's return in Mando season 2, the Vader scene in episode 6, that Vader scene in episode 3 though as well, where he's walking through the village and he snaps the kid's neck, drags the woman, kills the dad as well. You know, we'd read about it in comics, but actually seeing it in live action was insane. That was like the most violent we've ever seen Vader. Hallway scene obviously is really cool with Vader. The majority of Ahsoka episode 5. I think also the end of episode 4 where we see Anakin, because I didn't expect, like episode 5 was the one that was always pinned in as being the episode we'd see Anakin again and Hayden. But then seeing him pop up again right at the end of episode 4 was pretty nuts, because I just didn't expect it. I didn't expect it that week. I thought we were going to get it the next week. I know that's a lot. I've given you about five or six different moments. But yeah, they're just some of my favorites. It's hard to pinpoint like an exact favorite. Like it's so hard for me to pinpoint a favorite movie because Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith are always my two favorites. Favorite characters, it's always Anakin / Vader and Luke. Favorite moments, like there's so many, man. There's so many. But yeah, they're just a few. They're just a couple. We'll go to the YouTube comments because I also put a post up on YouTube. So I think I got about 3 or 4 replies there. So we'll see what we got there. Oh, here we go from Vex Dizzy. What's your favorite lightsaber design? Obviously, it's easy to go with Anakin's Episode 3 one because that, you know, that's such a legacy Skywalker one, and obviously it changes over time, like the button changes, but the saber itself remains the same for the most part. So I mean, that's obviously the really easy one, and that's the one, you know, most of us would have grown up with. But at the same time, if you're looking at just like pure, I think the most comfortable design would probably be like Obi-Wan's or even Qui-Gon's, but Obi-Wan's from Episode 1 and 2 as well. I think that'd be one of the most comfortable designs to use. Because like with sabers like this, obviously Anakin's, Obi-Wan's, Vader's, Luke's, Anakin's Episode 3 one as well, they all have this big light box switch sticking out. And I know Nick Gillard mentioned in one of Star Wars Theory's videos with him that on the prop ones when they were actually fighting, these were just painted on. Because yeah, I imagine the calluses and that sort of crap they'd be getting doing the 12s and all that would be quite insane with the light box switch sticking out. So they're actually painted on when they do the fight scenes and that sometimes apparently. But in terms of actual design, like aesthetic looking at them, Mace Windu is obviously up there. Chancellor Palpatine's Darth Sidious's would also be up there, because he was also just taking the piss out of the Jedi with the materials that were used in his lightsaber. Kyle Katarn's would also be up there, more nostalgic reasons, because that was the very first Star Wars game, Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast 2, that I ever played, so that's real nostalgic, and that's one I definitely want to get off Theory sabers. Yeah, they're probably, I know, obviously Count Dooku's looks nice, but I don't know how to go with the curved hilt, honestly. Yeah, no, Mace Windu's is always very aesthetically pleasing. A lot of the other Jedi on the Council have quite a basic sort of saber, you know, like you look at Plo Koon's and Kit Fistos and Ki-Adi-Mundi's and all that sort of thing. They've all got fairly basic designs. But yeah, I don't know. I'm giving you very long answers. I'm not giving you guys very definitive answers. But yeah, we're just going to roll with that for now. Jedi Order says, favorite Star Wars movie, show, and least favorite movie and show. Favorite movie, I obviously said it earlier in the video, but favorite movie would be, it's a tie between Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. I cannot split them. Return of the Jedi was my favorite as a kid, but as I've grown up, Revenge of the Sith has tied it as well. So I cannot split the two. Favorite show, Mandalorian's obviously really good, but I'd have to say Ahsoka. I think even Kenobi. Kenobi's obviously got its problems, and I can acknowledge that, but overall, I still really did enjoy Kenobi for what it did give us in parts. Ahsoka was really, really good. I enjoyed not just obviously the main parts that everyone enjoyed, like Anakin, Vader, that sort of thing, but I also really enjoyed like Episode 3, she gives an explanation of the Force to Sabine, and if you go and listen to George Lucas's explanation, you know, they're so similar, and I enjoyed most of the characters in that. Like I think Sabine got a lot of hate unnecessarily. I actually did a video where I spoke about how she's not a Mary Sue and that sort of thing, because I think a lot of it made sense. There's dogs barking, hopefully you guys can't hear it. But her character progression was really good, and I think it did make a lot of sense. And I did a 9-10 minute video explaining why it makes sense. So yeah, Ahsoka was really good. I cannot wait for Ahsoka season 2 and what it might lead to, because, you know, it could lead to the father, the son, the daughter. We might get Abeloth. This might be a big part in what's going to end up being, you know, Filoni's movie. So who knows? But I think Ahsoka's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most in the future. Mandalorian's obviously really good. I didn't hate season 3 as much as a lot of other people did. I think when it's all said and done, this Mandoverse, in however many years it's going to take, and obviously that includes Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka, I think season 3 of Mando is going to be looked back on as quite a developmental season in a sense. I don't think it's going to be as bad as a lot of people thought it was when it's all said and done and we're looking back on it as a whole. That's just my opinion, at least. Because I think in season 3, obviously it wasn't as good as season 1 and 2, obviously, but season 1 and 2 did give a lot to live up to. But the Mandalorian lore it gave us and that sort of thing, I think was quite good. Like it was really pure Mandalore, which was cool. I want to see Boba Fett get his own show back for a season 2, or have some big appearances and some stuff, because even Tamura said, like, we need to get back to seeing Boba Fett be Boba Fett. And yeah, so that's sort of what I'm looking forward to in Star Wars. I know I went completely off track with the question, but we're gonna live with that. Least favorite movie and show. Least favorite movie is The Last Jedi. The only good thing I can say about that movie is the cinematography and the resilience of the actors to act through that crap. Yeah, nah, that was just pure shit. I hate everything about that movie. We're not gonna spend too much time on it because I have said a lot about it in the past, but I will never understand that movie for the life of me. I'll never understand it. Least favorite Star Wars show, it was Andor. When Andor came out, I think they said it was going to be very like HBO show, like your Game of Thrones and all that. I hadn't seen Game of Thrones. I knew what Game of Thrones was, obviously, like who doesn't, but I just hadn't seen it. So yeah, it wasn't really my cup of tea. I'm hopeful season 2 will be better, and I think I'll like it a bit more because we're going to a bit more familiar planets. We're going to dig into Yavin 4 a bit more apparently, and every 3 episodes is going to be a year between the first season and leading up to Rogue One. So we're getting 4 years, a year every 3 episodes. So I think I'll like it a bit more. Probably still won't be my favorite thing ever, but I think I'll like it a bit more. But I did say that was my least favorite until The Acolyte came out last year. That was interesting to say the least. The good thing I will say about it, it probably did give us our best Disney lightsaber fight choreography wise in episode 5, I think it was. That was really good, but yeah, all in all, that was ridiculous again. Yeah, no, that was it. It felt like I have not seen the fandom that bad since The Last Jedi, maybe. Like, that was insane. I need someone to teach me how to do the Obi-Wan-y. I just can't do the behind the back thing. How do you do the behind the back thing? Because I can do that. I've got good wrist movement that way, but I just can't do the behind the back thing. I feel like I'm going to cut my back in half. How do you do it? I feel like I'm going to snap my wrist or cut my back in half. How do you do it? I feel like once I pick it up, it'll be like, duh, why didn't I do this before? But yeah, no, the Acolyte was ridiculous and all. It felt like at the time, it just felt like they were almost trying to undo the Phantom Menace a bit. Yeah, I wasn't for it. And I think a lot of people agreed. I was not for it at all. That was, yeah, no, it just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. Like the Ki-Adi-Mundi thing and all that aside, like it just was not good. Odin Skywalker, who's also Darth Christensen, but he's asked me another question on YouTube. Who is your favorite Jedi, Sith, Dark Jedi, etc.? I don't really know if I subscribe to the whole Dark Jedi thing, or Dark Jedi, Grey Jedi sort of thing. I don't really know if I subscribe to that, but my favorite Jedi, my favorite Sith, I mean, it's going to be my favorite characters. It's Luke, it's Anakin, it's Vader as the Sith. Those 2 characters growing up, if you want, like, I can answer it in a couple of different ways, really. I can say, like, pure Jedi is Obi-Wan. All the loss he faced, he obviously lost his master, he lost someone who was going to be the love of his life in Satine. He lost his brother, who was his apprentice as well, Anakin. Padme died, Ahsoka went missing. So he lost all these people and then subjected himself almost as punishment, or at least for the first 10 years as punishment, to a life of solitude on Tatooine, to look after Luke and make sure he was the next hope, the new hope. But yeah, I mean, I like the way Qui-Gon went about it. I think if more Jedi had Qui-Gon's sort of state of mind, I think a lot less corruption would have been happening. The Jedi wouldn't have been as flawed, and I think they would have had a better view of the Force as a whole. And I think most importantly, Anakin wouldn't have fallen. For those of you that haven't read the Living Force book, if you remember our little friend from the Clone Wars, the Jedi, that Evan Piel, big-eared, scar across his eye, tiny ass dude. In the Living Force, there's a little bit where talking about him where he says he sort of viewed himself as the most similar to Qui-Gon, but obviously he died in the Clone Wars as well. So I think those two sort of had, you know, that wanted more knowledge of the Force as a whole, you know, learn all points of view of it rather than, you know, just the light side, the Jedi side. Not saying they're gonna, you know, risk themselves falling to the dark or anything, but, you know, just want that full view of things. And I've just started rambling. So this is what happens when I talk about Star Wars. I'll just ramble about anything. I'll go off on different tangents. I'll go off on, yeah. I shouldn't be allowed to do this. But also there's a motor going. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Yeah, I don't know if the lightsaber's showing a bit better. It's getting slightly darker now. It's like 6 o'clock or something. So it'll get a bit darker. There we go. There's purple. There's Mace Windu. I don't think it's actually Mace Windu sound font, but it's Mace Windu. But yeah, all in all, that's my answers. I know I rambled a bit, but I sort of just want to test out the Rode mic and the camera, see how we go. Because obviously, one of my goals for this year is to do a few more interviews, like of people that are in Star Wars or at conventions. You know, you get media passes, interview people that have been involved in Star Wars. So like Michelle Ang is first up on my list, hopefully in Melbourne, a week or two. I think 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks before Celebration. Right at the end of March, I think. She's going to be in Melbourne, so that's one of my goals, is to go to Melbourne, meet her, and hopefully grab a quick 5-10 minute interview or something with her. Because there's obviously a couple quick questions I'd love to ask her about the process of being on Bad Batch, especially as Omega, and what the future might hold for Omega, who gives a shit. But yeah, that's one of my goals for 2025. So the start of this is obviously just testing this out, talking to you guys, and yeah, seeing how it sounds. So hopefully it sounds pretty good, looks pretty good, and then we can go forward with that. Yeah, thank you to the 4, 5, 6 guys, whatever, that asked me questions. It is really appreciated. It gave me something to talk and ramble about while I filmed this, see what the mic sounds like, and all that sort of fun stuff. Until next time though, may the Force be with you always.